very good evening and welcome. This is News First Prime Time News here on TV1 for the News First team. I am Jahana Ratnayaka. Today is the 18th of September 2023.
I am Naveksha Gunasekar and here's a look at your headlines for tonight.
CID takes over investigation into the shooting that targeted MP Uddika Premaratne's car. 6 people arrested for assault on MP Sarapura Gajendran. Amended anti-terror bill to Parliament this week, says SLPP MP Milan Jayatilaka. Several more services declared as essential. Trade unions ready for massive protest opposite hospitals on Friday. China's Xi Yan 6 heading to Sri Lanka, pending clearance. 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly opens in New York.
In tonight's top story, investigations into the incident where shots were fired at the car of parliamentarian Uddika Premaratne were handed over to the Criminal Investigations Department by order of the Inspector General of Police.
The shooting took place opposite the residence of the MP and he was, however, not harmed in the incident.
Shots were fired at around 10:30 p.m. yesterday, targeting the car of parliamentarian Uddika Premaratne. Sri Lanka police said that the MP in his private car had reached home from the Lahira grounds in Anuradhapura and had gotten out of the vehicle to head inside his residence. Police said that it was at this time that another group in another car arrived at the location and opened fire. Sri Lanka police said that the rear left side passenger seat was targeted in the shooting. The rear windshield of the MP's car was destroyed. News First correspondent said that police recovered a live bullet from the scene of the crime. Government and opposition MPs visited the residence of MP Uddika Premaratne to inquire into his well-being. Sri Lanka police said that it is unclear who carried out the shooting.
It was observed that a pistol was used in this crime and the Anuradhapura police launched an immediate investigation. In the morning, the police chief ordered the DIG in charge of the CID to take over the investigation. Accordingly, detectives from the CID were dispatched to Anuradhapura. They will conduct further investigations, locate the suspects and take measures to produce them in court.
In a special statement to Parliament on the 7th of September, MP Uddika Premaratne said that he decided to become an independent lawmaker. Uddika Premaratne, who represents Vimal Veeravansha's National Freedom Front, was elected to Parliament from the Anuradhapura district from the SLPP.
As the worrying trend of motorcycle gunmen continue in the country, a 6-year-old girl died after 2 motorcycle gunmen opened fire close to the Malika Kanda Magistrates Court last evening. According to Sri Lanka police, the gunmen had targeted the father of the girl, who is currently being treated in hospital for gunshot injuries.
This is the road close to the Malika Kanda Magistrates Court in Mardana, in the heart of Colombo. 2 armed motorcycle gunmen were seen chasing after 2 other men attempting to open fire at them. A 6-year-old girl and her parents had already become the target of these armed motorcycle gunmen. The shooting took place when the 6-year-old girl's father, Akila Buddhika, was returning home after posting bail for a criminal charge.
We exited the court and we did not even reach 100 meters. 2 men opened fire. We were not aware that the child had been hit. We took both Akila and the child to the hospital. Sadly, the child passed away. 6 or 7 bullets were fired and Akila was hit in the chest and shoulder. We did not know that the small child was also hit.
The 6-year-old girl and her father were rushed to the hospital. However, the child did not survive. After this shooting, the two armed motorcycle gunmen chased after two other men and attempted to open fire at them before fleeing the scene. The police spokesperson said that the man who was injured in the shooting faces multiple criminal charges.
This person faces charges for abduction and rape in 2013, and in 2018 and several other years he was arrested for heroin possession. He was also arrested for firearm possession, theft and assault. He is also one of the 6 people arrested for hacking to death a man on the streets of Kotahena on the 28th of November 2022. We believe this shooting is someone linked to these crimes.
Yet, a 6-year-old girl who was completely unaware of all of this paid the ultimate price with her life. Who are these motorcycle gunmen who roam the streets of Colombo in broad daylight? Shouldn't immediate measures be taken to crack down on these crimes?
Investigations are underway to arrest the suspects. It was observed that a pistol was used to commit the crime.
Sri Lanka police said that 6 people were arrested for allegedly assaulting MP Sajith Gajendran and several others in Sarapura yesterday.
Parliamentarian Sarapura Gajendran of the Tamil National People's Front and several others had organised a motorcade in remembrance of Rasaiya Parthipan, known by the Nomdagar Thilipan, who died on the 26th of September 1987 during a hunger strike in Jaffna that took place, citing several demands, including the immediate exit of the Indian peacekeeping force from Sri Lanka. The Thilipan Memorial Motorcade commenced from the Potuvil town on the 15th of September and proceeded to Batiklo via Verugal and Muttur, and was eventually obstructed by a group in Sarapura while en route to Trincomalee. The group had then assaulted the vehicle carrying an image of Thilipan and thereafter assaulted MP Sajith Gajendran.
We were on our way to Trincomalee and we were assaulted. A masked man hurled a large stone onto the vehicle. Around 50 people obstructed the road. They attacked the vehicle. I was brutally assaulted. They attacked my driver with a stone. They continued to assault us.
Sri Lanka's police spokesperson commented on the incident.
Those engaged in the Thilipan Memorial Motorcade filed a complaint with the Tamalagamu police, citing that they were assaulted by a group. Investigations are conducted by the China Bay police and 6 people were arrested for unlawful assembly and assault. The suspects are a 59-year-old male, 45-year-old male, 2 women aged 35, a 56-year-old male and a 59-year-old male. All 6 suspects were produced to the court and were remanded to the 21st of September. As per the Prevention of Terrorism Act and the Gazette issued prescribing the LTTE, it is not permissible to commemorate a person like Thilipan. Parliamentarian Udaya Gammampila made the following remarks in this regard.
කොටි සංවිධානය කියන්නේ මේ රටේ
Tilipan is a person who led the efforts of the LTTE to create a division within the country and sacrificed his life for the goals of the LTTE, which was to spread separatism and terrorism in this country. The LTTE is an organization that is banned in the country, who gave permission for a vehicle parade to take to the roads decorated in red and yellow flags with a portrait of Tilipan from the eastern province to the northern province. If someone has permitted that, it violates Article 157A of the Constitution, as it promotes separatism. That is a conspiracy to provoke the people of racism and hatred to travel across the eastern villages of people who have suffered as a result of the LTTE's terrorism for over 3 decades. Under Section 3 of the ICCPR Act number 56 of 2007, it is an offence to propagate war or advocate national, racial or religious hatred that constitutes incitement to discrimination, hostility or violence. The government should file action against him for both these reasons. Every time Ranil Wickremesinghe comes to power, separatists and extremists raise their heads. Not that he sponsored. Terrorists and extremists have always risen under his regime. LTTE terrorism was at its strongest during his regime in 2001 and 2004. Also, a Muslim extremism that did not exist in the country arose during the Ranil Wickremesinghe government from 2015 to 2019. So his weakness has seriously affected the rise of terrorism and extremism in this country. If this government is taking interim orders when trade unions, the public and students are marching, why can't they take any action against a march that sows separatism, terrorism and racism? We are also asking why this was not prevented. When these attacks were carried out, police were there. It doesn't matter if the celebration is about Tilipan and who Tilipan is. We believe it is wrong to define these people as simply the general public. That is wrong. The government is trying to blame the general public for this. Those were thugs. Does a complaint need to be filed to arrest thugs? When there is a regime that cannot implement the law regardless of whether it is Sinhala, Muslim or Tamil, this becomes the starting point of a conflict. There is no point in focusing on national unity after ending the war. Rajapaksa thugs are still working to preserve their political power by using the term Sinhala Buddhists. This is them preparing the foundation for the next election.
The Ceylon Teachers Union expressed the following views.
This happened in front of the police. We suspect whether this was clearly a conspiracy to regain power by the Ranil Rajapaksa government to establish racism in this country. It is clearly stated in the documentary by Channel 4, the fact that they even used the Easter attacks as some kind of conspiracy to come into power. We know the history of the Rajapaksas. Now we have our reservations as to whether this is also such an attempt. In the south, the government deploys the police and continues to suppress. Water cannons and tear gas are used even during a protest. Is this some kind of a racist attempt to come to power by exercising the same law in two different ways in two corners of the country?
The Antiterrorism Bill, which was originally gazetted in March 2023, was once again gazetted by the Sri Lankan government with new amendments. The new amendments have drawn strong criticism from multiple quarters.
The amended Anti-Terrorism Bill was published via Gazette on the 15th of September by order of the Minister of Justice, Prison Affairs and Constitutional Reforms. On the 22nd of March, when the Anti-Terrorism Bill was first gazetted, it attracted widespread condemnation. What were the segments in the Anti-Terrorism Bill that were criticized? A wide range of offences were defined under terrorism and terrorist. Expansion of unusual or special powers of arrest and detention, providing more broad investigation powers for the police. Transfer of the power of admission of guilt to the Attorney General, providing more broad powers to the President to proscribe organizations, issue restriction orders, declare curfews, declare places as prohibited places, and introduce rehabilitation programs. The previous draft included clauses directly related to the suppression of the media under the pretext of combating terrorism. Have these been addressed in the newly amended bill? In the previous bill, obstructing an essential service or related services was defined as an act of terrorism. However, in the bill published on the 15th of September, that section was removed. In the new draft, the section on essential services has been included and it has been specified as an offence to causing serious damage to any place of public use, a state or governmental facility, any public or private transportation system, or any infrastructure facility or environment. Incidentally, the new bill defines what is called place of public use. Accordingly, a place of public use includes any highway and any other premises or place to which at the material time the public have or are permitted to have access, whether as of right or otherwise. According to the new Antiterrorism Bill, causing serious damage to any place of public use has been defined as an offence related to terrorism. As in the previous Anti-Terrorism Bill, provisions shall apply to print media, internet, electronic media or other forms of public notice which glorifies the commission of the offence of terrorism or preparation for the offence of terrorism as an act of terrorism. Ruling party MP Milan Jayatilaka said the Anti-Terrorism Bill will likely be presented to Parliament this week.
The Anti-Terrorism Bill will be presented to Parliament this week. The Justice Minister has informed of this. We request that everyone support this move. The bill clearly defines the act of terrorism. We appeal to the opposition not to move against this bill.
None of the harmful factors have been removed from this bill. The Prevention of Terrorism Act of 1978 was introduced to crack down on anti-state activity. However, it is now used to crack down on anti-government activity. Section 3 of this bill clearly notes that any person who commits any act wrongfully or unlawfully compelling the government of Sri Lanka or any other government or an international organization to do or to abstain from doing any act commits the offence of terrorism. It means that attempting to obstruct any act by the government or governments of India, China, USA and even the IMF and World Bank is an offence of terrorism. The EPF and ETF have suffered a great blow, and speaking up for those funds can also be termed as an offence of terrorism under these provisions.
කරන දෙයක් වළක්වන්න හරි කරන්නේ නැති දෙයක් කරන්න කියලා හරි කියන එක. ඒක අරගෙන තියෙනවා ත්‍රස්තවාදය පිළිබඳ වරදයට. يعني කරන්න යන දෙයක් වළක්වන්න හරි නොකර සිටින දෙයක් කරන ලෙස හරි කතා කිරීම. අවම වශයෙන් දැන් EPF එකට ETF එකට කම්කරු විශ්‍රාම වැටු පරමුදල් වලට විශාල ප්‍රහාරයක් කෙල්ලලා තිනවා. ඒකට විරුද්ධව කතා කරන එක පවා අරගන්න පුළුවන් ත්‍රස්තවාදය පිළිබඳ වරද කියලා.
The People's Tomorrow movement commented on the new Anti-Terrorism Bill.
අපිට බොහොම පැහැදිලි මේ ත්‍රස්ත විරෝධී පනත ගේන්න හදන්නේ ත්‍රස්තවාදයට විරුද්ධව කටයුතු කරන්න නෙමෙයි.
The Anti-Terrorism Act is not being introduced to crack down on terrorism, but to crack down on groups that oppose them. They are trying to use this to silence the groups that oppose the government. The serious flaws in the PTA are evident in the ATA. There is no proper definition of terrorism. So, when legislation is introduced in the absence of proper definition, any act can be termed as terrorism for one's own political needs.
ත්‍රස්තවාදය බවට පරිවර්තනය කරන්නත් මේ ආණ්ඩුවලට බලයක් තියෙනවා.
In more local news, Sri Lanka issued another Essential Services Gazette by order of the President.
Another Essential Services Gazette was issued with the signature of the Acting Secretary to the President, Chandani Vijayawardena, with effect from the 17th of September 2023. All services connected to the supply of electricity, the supply or distribution of petroleum products and fuel have been declared as essential. In addition, all service, work or labour or any description whatsoever necessary or required to be done in connection with the maintenance and the reception, care feeding and treatment of patients in hospitals, nursing homes, dispensaries and other similar institutions have been declared as essential. Trade unions attached to the health, electricity and petroleum sectors are preparing to launch a massive joint protest opposite hospitals nationwide on Friday the 22nd of September. Trade unions elaborated on their move in Colombo.
We are compelled to struggle alongside the people. This is what we will launch on the 22nd opposite hospitals across the island. This is not a strike. This is a protest movement that will be supported by the trade union leaders of mass organizations and hospital staff. Sri Lanka's inflation has increased fivefold. when compared to other countries. There are around 2.5 million people who use medicine daily, especially for diabetes and cholesterol. In addition, there are hundreds of thousands who visit the OPD daily for medicine. They do not get 50% of the medicines they need. Some don't even get a pill of paracetamol. We need to join forces and move this struggle forward. Based on the conduct of the rulers, we witnessed how the right to life was being violated. Is it the job of the trade unions to build the health sector? But we are prepared to do that if no one else is willing to do it. This is a political issue. We need to make political changes. That is what we aspire through these moves. We have suffered for decades. We need to end this now. Professionals are leaving this country due to the collapse in faith in the health and socio-political systems. The outdated health service must change, and we need leaders with vision for that. It needs to happen in the health ministry and in the government. Free healthcare operates on our taxes. Therefore, we have a right to represent it. The government always protects the corrupt. We have a right to do this. We are witnessing the end of the administrative system that existed in this country. We need to understand it. The people need to rise up for a people's administration.
News first with the people.
The 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly High-Level Week opened in New York, USA.
The 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly marks a crucial milestone in achieving the 2030 Agenda and the urgent need to put the 17 Sustainable Development Goals back on track. World leaders gather to engage in the annual high-level general debate under the theme, quote, Rebuilding Trust and Reigniting Global Solidarity, Accelerating Action on the 2030 Agenda and its Sustainable Development Goals towards peace, prosperity, progress and sustainability for all, unquote. President Ranil Wickremesinghe will address the United Nations General Assembly on the 21st of September. In addition, the President will also attend the session to review the implementation of the 2030 Agenda and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Thereafter, the President will hold meetings with fellow world leaders.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa claims that the incumbent president, similar to the former president, is concealing the truth about the Easter attacks. He expressed these views when the executive committee of the opposition met this afternoon.
What is the biggest concern now? The president, who was chosen through the vote of 134 people that came into parliament thanks to Gotabaya Rajapaksa, is now following the same footsteps as his predecessor, that is, concealing the truth. There is no mechanism in place to expose the truth. I believe the current president mentioned that he would launch an international investigation into this. I don't understand why he is hesitating to initiate that process. We too want to know if this attack was a terrorist attack or whether it was disguised as a terrorist attack to achieve a certain political motive. Concealing the truth of the matter only goes to show that it is being done by those who are responsible for it.
International maritime tracking data showed that the Chinese geophysical scientific research vessel Shiyan-6, which has also attracted India's attention, will reach the port of Colombo on the 29th of September. However, Sri Lanka's Minister of Foreign Affairs said that diplomatic level clearance was not given for this vessel to enter the country.
The Chinese geophysical scientific research vessel Shiyan-6 was monitored moving along the Strait of Malacca towards Sri Lanka. It is approximately 1,000 nautical miles away from the island and is travelling at a speed of 12 to 13 knots. Although the vessel left China on the 11th of September, international maritime tracking platforms were not updated to claim that Shiyan-6 was heading to Sri Lanka. At the time, the data showed the Shiyan-6 heading to another Chinese port. However, later it was observed that the vessel was in fact heading in the opposite direction towards one of the main shipping lines leading to Sri Lanka. Marine traffic platforms have now confirmed that the destination of the Shiyang 6 is the port of Colombo. Earlier, Sri Lanka Navy said that the Chinese geophysical scientific research vessel Shiyang 6 would reach the sea of Sri Lanka by the 25th of October 2023. It added that the Defence Ministry had also given its clearance for the vessel to dock in Colombo. The Sri Lanka Navy said that the Chinese vessel will be involved in research operations in the Sea of Sri Lanka for a period of 17 days with the National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency, also known as NARA. When contacted by News First, the Sri Lanka Navy said that it was not informed about any change in the vessel's date of arrival. On the 29th of August, Indian media reported that a request was made for the Chinese geophysical scientific research vessel Shiyang 6 to delay its visit until Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe concludes his visit to China in October of 2023. The Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation will be held in Beijing in October, and Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe is expected to attend in person. Although maritime tracking data claims the Shiyang 6 will dock in Colombo on the 29th of September, based on its current speed, the vessel will most likely reach the Sea of Sri Lanka at around 10:30 am on the 23rd of September, some 6 days ahead of schedule. Sri Lanka's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that the Shiyang 6 has yet to obtain diplomatic level clearance to enter the Sea of Sri Lanka. It added that as the Shiyang 6 is considered a research and survey vessel, the days in which the research will be conducted and the type of research must be informed to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It added that the dates and areas of research have not been confirmed with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Therefore, the ministry announced that it cannot announce a definite date on which the Shiyang 6 will reach Sri Lanka, as it has not completed the necessary requirements to obtain clearances.
The United States and Sri Lanka marked the 14th Trade Investment Framework Agreement Council meeting in Colombo today, solidifying their commitment to enhancing trade and investment relations.
The technical level meeting, co-chaired by KJ Veerasinghe of the Government of Sri Lanka and Brendan Lynch, the acting assistant United States trade representative for South and Central Asia, witnessed productive discussions on a wide range of crucial issues. US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung and Chandani Veerawardena, acting secretary to the President, set the tone with their opening remarks, acknowledging the 75th anniversary of bilateral relations between the two nations. During the council meeting, both delegations addressed policies impacting the investment, climate, recent labor reforms, intellectual property production, intellectual property protection and enforcement, customs and trade facilitation, technical barriers to trade and market access for apparel, gem and jewelry and agricultural products. The discussions also extended to collaboration and technical assistance in areas such as the digital economy, gem and jewelry industry, floriculture, boat building sectors and the Coconut Research Institute's technology transfer and research commercialization. Transparency and efficiency in improving foreign direct investment were emphasized as key drivers of domestic economic growth and foreign investment attraction. The United States underscored the importance of adopting robust anti-corruption measures, and Sri Lanka provided updates on its proposed anti-corruption legislation, seeking technical assistance and training from the United States government. Intellectual property protection and enforcement were affirmed as crucial for bilateral trade and innovation. Sri Lanka shared updates on its IP legislative reforms, and the United States offered capacity building support. The meeting concluded with both governments committing to make sustained progress on trade issues, looking ahead to the next Tifa Council meeting scheduled for 2024. The 14th Tifa Council meeting served as a testament to the United States and Sri Lanka's dedication to strengthening their economic ties and fostering mutual prosperity.
Although the southwest part of the island received considerable rainfall over the past few days, many areas in the island are still experiencing a drinking water crisis.
The people from the Palagala Divisional Secretariat in the Anuradhapura district are facing a serious crisis due to the lack of access to clean drinking water. Locals say that all water sources in the area have dried up. The villagers from the area such as Kahalla, Paravahagama, Kattakaduwa, Ambagaswawa, Maneruwa, Kandegama and Nanwattegama are inconvenienced as a result of this crisis. The lack of access to clean drinking water has forced these people to travel for miles in search of water.
වැව් හිඳිලා බොණ්ඩ වතුරන්න වතුර හොයාගෙන ගොඩක් දුර යන්න ඕනේ. අපි කියන්නේ මේ ගැන අපි කියන සලකා බලලා මේකට මොකක් හරි සුදුසු පියවරක් ගන්නම නම් හොඳයි කියන එක තමයි.
According to farmers in the area, the lack of water has affected many farmlands and have destroyed them as well. Many villagers in the Valikanda Divisional Secretariat in the Polonnaruwa district are facing a drinking water crisis as well. The villagers say water sources and wells in the village have dried up due to the prevailing arid weather conditions.
The second leg of the LOLC Davia program took place centering the Jaffna district.
The second leg of the LOLC Davia aims to provide school books and stationery to government schools with less than 100 students for an entire year. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. The LOLC Davia program took place centering the Tennamarachi and Vadamarachi education zones in the Jaffna district. 1,416 students from 20 public schools were given free school books and stationery items via the LOLC Davia program. School books and stationery were given to students from the Ravan Paulo Sakala Kavallo Vidyalaya, Pokkadi Government Tamil School, Kodikamam Vidyalaya and Kudamiyan Vidyalaya. School books and stationery were also given to students from the Karanavai Ponnampala Vidyalaya, Tunnai South Government Tamil School, Kaddaiveli Yakkaru Vinayakkar Vidyalaya and Vigneshwara Primary School. In addition, students from another 20 schools were gifted with school books and stationery items via the LOLC Davia program at the Tennamarachi and Vadamarachi Education Zone. At the Tennamarachi and Vadamarachi Zonal Education Offices, the LOLC Davia program will continue to create a bright future for the country's student population.
China's top diplomat Wang is visiting Russia for security talks as Moscow seeks continued support for its war on Ukraine.
China's foreign ministry says Minister Wang Yi is in Russia for 4 days for strategic security consultations. Russian news agency citing the Kremlin had stated he would meet his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov, and the Ukraine war would be a key topic discussed along with the expansion of NATO forces and infrastructure in the Asia-Pacific region and strengthening their coordination in international groupings such as the UN. Wang's visit to Russia comes after President Putin's controversial welcome of Supreme Leader of North Korea Kim Jong-un, which the US alleged was to discuss the selling of North Korean arms to Russia.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for watching. For the News First team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara.
I'm Jamal Ratnayaka. Take care and good night.